Okay, this video is Calypso programming part 2, and we're going to continue right where we left off from part 1. And so we did first tab CMM, second tab measurement. We're good here. And so now we want to go to features. Let's take a look at that document, print out features. So with features, we're looking at creating features. Features and characteristics can be done in any order, but a characteristic gets applied to a feature. So we have to have a feature obviously first, but we can kind of group things so that we can keep track of them. And again, it's really important to name things as you go, because guaranteed after a couple hours of doing this or whatever, you're not going to remember. So we're going to click the CAD model, or we're going to manually probe the part. We have to define a strategy for how it's going to evaluate that feature. We want a step width of 5 thousandths. The stylus number should already be set. Our clearance plane should be set. Now there might be some unique situations where 10 millimeters is too far. And we need to make it less so it doesn't crash into something. So we're going to go and we're going to define a couple of features. As you remember in the last video, we did our measurement plan when we did our baseline. It created plane 1, plane 2, and plane 3, which is over here, plane 3 over there. So what we really need to do is, if we go back and we look at our print, the bottom was datum A, the front didn't have a name, opposite side is B, so we're going to call it the front, and the left hand side is datum C. And so we're going to label those accordingly so that we can find things on the print. So if I pick this one, highlight it, I can see which one it is. That's datum A. So I'm going to double click on it. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label it datum A. Okay. Now, we have to apply a strategy to this, which is how are we going to evaluate this surface? Well, I need to evaluate this surface so that I know it is flat, so I can compare this top surface to it. So I'm going to pick a strategy, and there's a number of choices here. I can either do points, where I pick points and it probes points, or I can do a polyline, which is what typically gets done. That clearance data we set, that clearance planes we set, that information is in here, this clearance data. See up, it's this is the default. It's going to be 10 millimeters up, and it's going to be 5 millimeters. Okay, so that's fine unless I need to change something. So I'm going to pick polyline, and it creates the polyline. So it's always going to, what am I going to do to create it? And then I'm going to double click inside. So it made a polyline, but there's no strategy on it yet. So this is where points go when it does points. So if you remember, step width was supposed to be 5 thousandths. You'll have to set this on every single one, and when you set that, it will give us the number of points once we do something. So there's a couple of different ways. I can either pick, and it creates a line. Okay, and if I were to keep going, it's going to create a polyline. And so that's the path the stylus is going to take to go around and measure the bottom. If I don't like that, here's the trash. I can just delete all the ones in the trash. Now there is a way that I can make it polyline made from the model. If I pick this, I can set the distance away from the edge of the model. and it will automatically do it. So let's say 2 inches. Okay. Boom, and it automatically makes one. Well, 2's not good because it would hit the part. So I'm going to delete those points. I'm going to do polyline and say 1.5. There we go. So now it made those points where it's going to come and set down and go around. Okay. Notice now it has 2,400 points. So it's going to take calculations at 2,400, 2,401 different times around that path. So I'm going to have a lot of good base data. So set for 5 thousandths. Now when it said stylus in those notes, it was talking about this. It might matter if I have a 5-star probe where it has 4 in the horizontal direction, x plus, x minus, y plus, y minus, and z minus, where I would have to choose which way I want to go so it knows which way to approach. Using the 3x50 stylus that we're using, and we typically will use, I should never have to mess with this. So this is okay. I say okay. I say okay. And again, okay. So now what I have is, if I pick this, I have a strategy on this. So let's see exactly what that means, what's going to happen. So let me go isometric view, drag this up here a little bit. So if I want to see what it's going to do, I can simulate it. Okay, and to simulate it, I go to Planner, Stylus System, Simulation. It brings up this window. So here I can show the stylus system. I can turn it on, turn it off. There it is. I don't know why it's not behaving. But in order to run it, now this is my speed. That's where I was going to go. I don't want it to go too fast. Probably not more than about half, because it's calculating, or it thinks it's calculating all these points, and if you go too fast, it might be too fast and you might get some errors. So I got to come down here and I got to pick run. And when I pick run, there are some things. For my base alignment, okay, I want to do all characteristics. Okay, because I want it to evaluate everything that I've done. Okay. Clear existing results. This typically is checked all the time, and I noticed that this gave me an option. So I have current alignment, manual alignment, grind training. So these are some ones that it has done. Grind is 1.6.18 is the one that we're running, so that's the alignment I want to use. So I'm going to say OK. So when I say OK, it comes, and if you recall, it's going to go around. I'm going to speed it up just so we don't have to wait all day. So it's going around and it's simulating what it would do. And it's actually down on the top surface there. And it's done. It's stopped. CNC canceled. Base align cannot be computed. Well, that's partly because feature has not been completely defined. Okay, so that's why I couldn't finish it, because if you remember, I only did one feature. Okay, but I wanted you to see that I can do something and then I can see what it does. So let's go ahead and define the others. So plane 2 is the front, and we're just going to call it the front. So we're going to call it the front, and this is typical for any part. You got to figure out where your 0 needs to be. Ultimately, it would be best to put the 0 for the CMM where the 0 is for the print, and that might mean rotating your part around if the 0 is in the upper right hand corner. You can either do it there and have it work backwards, or orient your part this way so it's in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to come in here and do a strategy again. I'm going to do a polyline, double click on the polyline, step width. I'm going to set this to 5 thousandths. That's good. I'm going to have it pick automatically polylines. It's typically going to go 40 thousandths away from this outside shape, which means it's 40 thousandths off the bottom. So I'm going to accept that for now. Boom, here it is. It makes the path. Okay. Now, when I just move this, I made another point by accident. I hate that. So, fortunately, there's a trash can I can undo, and boom, it removes that point. So, next time if I want to pick so that I can zoom, because that's what I'm trying to do, I'll pick up here in the window, and then I won't pick a point. And then, so left click, I can drag it around, wheel zooms. So what I want to do, show you that I can do here, is I want to move these points up, because I might have a fixture that's touching on the side here. I might use a little bit of putty to hold my part in place so it doesn't move. So what I'm going to do is pick. You got to pick right down at the bottom, and then I can drag it up, and it modifies it, and it changes the point. Pick down here, and I'm going to move it up. So the sides are fine. I just wanted to move it up off the bottom. So that looks good. 5,000, see, there's 948 points. Okay, 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 and again, okay. So now that one's done. So I'll pick the next plane, which is over here. Let me close it and we can make sure that we see. Yep, there we go. Okay, so double click. Left side, what was that? That was C. Okay, back to this. That is datum C. This may seem kind of tedious to label this now, but trust me, if you wait until later, you'll wish you didn't. Okay, so just label it right away, name it according to the print, so you can keep your mind right. So back here, 0.005. If I'm doing a lot of this, what I've found is I do this and I highlight it, do Control C to copy so that I can just Control V, paste it in and save myself some time. I'm going to follow this around again, accept the default. There it is, makes a nice path. So I want to move these up in case I got that putty down low. Now it's still going to give me good data. Okay, so that still has some height here. So that's good. Okay, okay, okay. So there it is. So now let's put this isometric and let's go back and let's try running this again. This is pink. Go back in the strategy. It has I don't know why it's not all green yet. Maybe because it hasn't run these yet. So what I'm going to do is, again, planner, stylus system simulation. Oh, this red light, because it crashed before. It thinks it's a machine. It thinks it's connected to the CMM. So there's these things that are going on besides. And so this is when it was disabled because the alignment baseline couldn't happen. It turned this green light to red, which means it can't do anything. So yeah, we changed it back to green. Most of the time we don't have to worry about that offline. So we'll put this over here and we will go and press run. I want to clear my old data. Here's my base alignment, start. So now it's going to go down, go around. Now I have this turned up just because it's simple enough and I want you to be able to see what's going on. See how it's going around there? Now it's doing this side. just like we told it to. Boom, it's done. It liked it. Now it's opening up the report. We made a custom report. We modified default one from Zeiss, and so as this comes open, this is going to tell me about the information on there we go, it's coming along. Oh, it doesn't see the printer, but it's still going to open the report because I don't have that printer. Okay, so it's going to open it up. See, it's using a standard protocol, SEHS. That's because, remember, last video we set this up so that it would use this. All right, so it doesn't have any data because I just did a base align. I didn't compare it this side to that side. That really was just a base align. But might as well show you this, because what we have here is it's automatically going to take your Zeiss, your Calypso program number, part name, you'd want to put your part name in, your name, our course, and any other notes that we need to see, and our data will come out here. Okay, let's close this. So that's just basically setting up the base alignment. So now we have CMM done, we have measurement, and we have defined a strategy and labeled our things. So in the next video we'll start comparing and setting some things up so you can see some data.